Don't stop me now because I'm under pressure. I know you want to break free for this intro, but come on, play the game.
Chatting Tracks. Let's talk music.
Hi, it's Robbie's Chatting Tracks. Let's talk music indeed. Thanks for joining me on my little channel talking about music. Now, it turns out 70% of the people that watch this channel, so like watch it regularly but don't subscribe. So if you could subscribe and help me out, that'd be amazing. That way I can get bigger guests. If you're a first time person, hit the cheeky button as well. You'll massively help me out. Now, today we're going to talk about Queen, one of my favourite bands of all time. I've got all the Queen vinyls back there and stuff like that. Anyway, I dug this out the other day, which was a Queen thing. I got this around 1992. I paid £70 for this, and I thought I had an original copy of the autographs. Turns out apparently they gave it away with the album The Miracles as a sort of, check this album out, is a little free gift thing. Not genuine, absolutely gutted. I probably paid more than it's worth on eBay nowadays for it, but there we go. Such is life, Celebrate. Anyway, let's get to the website, shall we? So what it is, I've got my own website, chattingtracks.com, and this article will be linked in the bottom of that as well. And I've got lots of stuff on there. I've got stuff that's never been released that bands have sent me as well, and articles you can find out more about me and stuff like that. Okay, so look at the 10 most successful Queen biggest hits on the UK charts from 1973 to 2005. So I'm basically going to go through this and we're going to look at the songs which have been the best selling singles over this absolute amazing period. Of course, number 1 or 5, depending which way you want to go, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, released twice, obviously, made a lot of money for charity as well, and it's just a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. I mean, it's hard to imagine a time when this song didn't exist, because growing up, this song was absolutely everywhere, and it's always been everywhere. I've always known it, and it's amazing that they say it doesn't work. And when you watch the film Bohemian Rhapsody, they sort of had the trials and tribulations of the Shenfield brothers and all that sort of stuff, trying to stop it getting released, and Kenny Everett stealing it and playing it and all that sort of stuff. It's just imagine that this song didn't exist in the world, and might not have existed if the album had flopped. You never would have heard this. It would have been like some deep cut that people would have loved. So it's absolutely amazing that it's on there as well. From Night at the Opera, which is a fantastic album as well. That whole album is really, really good, actually, isn't it? Let's be honest with it. Yeah, so DJ Kenny Everett gave the song its breakthrough moment on his Capital Radio show. He teased the listener with fragments, played it 14 times in just 2 days. Mercury explained that Bohemian Rhapsody came together from several songs he'd written, and some parts dated to Queen's earliest days as well. So, recently I went to the Freddie Mercury exhibition. I'll put a link to that in the description as well, which is amazing. And you can see fragments of that song and bits and bobs everywhere as well there. It was a big rise. It went from 47 to number 1 in the UK and stayed in there for 4 weeks as well. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is so iconic now. It's just one of those songs that you seem to just know. It's always been in your blood. My taste with Queen when I first got involved with them was the video van. Like the guy used to come around with the video van and he'd rent the videos out. A bit like an ice cream man, but he had van videos in it. And I remember I got Queen's Greatest Hits. That's where I first got my taste of Queen. And I used to watch this video for ages. And I finally got some money together, saved up, and I bought it. And it cost me like 10 quid in 1988, I think it was. So that was, months and months of pocket money. And I played it till I wore it out. I've still got it in my loft. I've never got rid of it. I just absolutely love it. But yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody is obviously on there as well. It's basically the greatest hits album in order. And then when you hear that, it's just absolutely amazing to hear that large chorus. It's the large chorus as well, and the harmony and the guitar work and everything come together like that. Just phenomenal stuff. Reached number 1 twice, 1975 and 1991. So I'm not going to read the whole article out because it's going to be, there'll be a link in the description. So if you want to read the whole article, it's going to be in there, and I'd love to know your thoughts on it as well. Brilliant. So we've got Bohemian Rhapsody at number 1. Number 2, We Are the Champions, was the second or fourth highest selling single of the time. Obviously off News of the World, which I think is an amazing album. Now, News of the World is one of those albums that contains one of the most underground deep cuts of all time, which is Spread Your Wings by John Deacon. That's probably one of the best Queen songs ever made, in my opinion. It's phenomenally brilliant, yet for some reason it never got released as a single, not in the UK, I don't think anyway. But to me, that's just a brilliant song that just never got the air it deserves. So next time you got News of the World on, crank that on as well, play a bit of that as well. But yet again, it became really popular in sports stadiums and things like that when you win. It used to be on Gladiators as well. So it says there, the song stayed strong for 12 weeks on the chart, 7 weeks of the top 10. ABBA's Name of the Game and Wings' Muller and Tyre kept it from the top spot, but its commercial success soared despite from that. I mean, Muller and Tyre was one of the biggest selling singles of all time, so it's no surprise that it got stuck behind that. Whether you like that track or not, it was still huge. Name of the Game as well. You can't fault ABBA, so you can't knock that one. But should this have been a number 1? Absolutely, should have been a number 1. But when you see the competition it was up against at the time, it's hard to appreciate the fact that it was going to not get there because of Muller and Tyre. If you took Muller and Tyre out, that would have been number 1. Absolutely. I mean, Name of the Game was a very good track, but it's not We Are the Champions. And Muller and Tyre is just so contagious that it's not those two songs as well, if you know what I mean. So it was going to get someone there as well. Okay, so Freddie said in 1978 in an interview that he wanted to write a song, and he wrote what he think about football, and he wanted to get people involved. And of course, he made it more theatrical than a football chant. Of course he would, because he was amazing. And it's, what an amazing track. What an amazing track that is as well. And I like on the News of the World box set recently, they had the demo versions of it as well, and you can hear them like just pacing it out and feeling it out. And it's got such a lovely lovely feel to it, like even the one that they do on the demo version, and you think, oh, this is just fantastic. So I got there as well. Mercury's vocals push boundaries, reaching C5, both in his belted and his falsetto voice as well. You know, he really pushes his voice on this song, and you can always see his vocal cords coming out, and that's what I love about it. And he just really sort of hits this song as hard as he can, and it's just one of those songs that, you know, you can hear he really put his heart and soul into it. That's why I think this song is fantastic, and quite rightly, all the songs are the same. Like, everything he sung on, he really belted it out. But, you know, too right for getting this to be a bestseller, because it just has so much sort of, you know, heart and soul in it as well. And Mercury's voice is amazing. Brian's solo as well is pretty good, you know, like, well, he's accompanying solo, I'll call it. But yeah, you know, he really belts it out in there as well. Next up, we've got Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. I went to Montreux to see the studio, Mountain Studios, that obviously Queen and Bowie were using, and AC/DC at the time as well. And it's amazing when you go in that studio, if you've never been. It feels like they've just walked out the door. And there's a little plaque on the floor that says, you know, Freddie sung his last ever vocal here for Mother Love. And that's quite touching when you sort of stand on it thinking this is the last place he sang. But to be in there is really strange. You're sort of in there, and when I went, there was no one in there. It was empty. So I was in there for like a couple of hours on my own, just with my missus. And I was just playing with the faders, and there's basically a mixing desk where you can mix songs. And I was in there playing for hours, and I absolutely loved it. I got photos somewhere as well. But yeah, it's an amazing studio, and you get the idea when you hear the story that you know, they were supposed to be writing it secretly, like writing a verse, and then a bit like when you turn the paper over and write it and then do it again. But Bowie was listening in. You can sort of see where he was probably standing. You get a rough idea where Bowie was standing when he was doing that, and being proper sneaky. Love Bowie. So yeah, if you've never been there and you're a Queen fan, you've got to try and get there, because it's a wonderful place to go. It's absolutely brilliant. I always wished, you know, they'd done an album together, the two of them, you know, Bowie and Queen. Imagine what a whole album would have been like. It would have been phenomenal. It would have been phenomenal, even if they were doing covers and things like that, or just, you know, writing new tracks together with covers, just to hear those two together. Even if like they just had Queen and Freddie on piano and then Bowie singing, but like lead, and Freddie harmonising, Roger harmonising. Imagine what that would have sounded like. Let me know in the comments what track you think they should cover, Queen and Bowie. What song would they have done together? If you had to pick a random song, not necessarily either theirs, but just a song for them to cover, what one do you think would be fantastic? I'd love to know in the comments. Let me know. So they had a chance encounter at Mountain Studios in Switzerland that turned into rock history. Bowie dropped in while Queen were recording the Hot Space album. I love that album. People don't like it. I love it. To sing backing vocals on Cool Cat. And there's that really famous story where they were working on Under Pressure, went to get a pizza, come back, and everyone had forgotten it. And it was Roger that remembered the bass line and had to tell John Deacon what to do. Now, interestingly, it makes you wonder, did Roger remember it correctly, or did he remember a different bass line and wrote that himself from what he remembers? It could have been completely different. It could have been a completely different song that Roger remembered, but interpreted in his brain what he thought it was. So he might not have played that bass line, but Roger could have written this bass line and not known it. But I'm sure John did it. Anyway, so Under Pressure's in there. I mean, a fantastic track as well, absolutely brilliant. I'd love to have done a bit more as well. So it peaked at number 8 on the UK charts in November 14th, 1981, climbed to number 1 the following week, and stayed there for 2 weeks. Not a lot to be said about it. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's a brilliant song. And even the harmony's great. The message in the song is brilliant as well, like we should work together and stuff. Brilliant. Next up, Crazy Little Thing Called Love from 1979. Fantastic track from the Game album. The Game album, I think, is my favourite Queen album. Let me know in the comments what your favourite Queen album is. Fred did write the song in the bath in about 10 minutes. Mercury later explained how the song Constraint helped its creation. I did that on guitar, which I can't play for nuts. In one way or another. It's quite a good thing because I've restricted, only knew a few chords. Then that's great, you know what I mean? So he took what he had and he wrote an amazing song with it. And I loved it. It's got that 50s pastiche to it, and it's harking back to the music these two when they were younger as well. It's amazing how many songs of Queen's don't get to number 1, even though we know them inside out and they're anthemic to us and they're in our blood. It's amazing that they don't, but you forget with the passage of time that not every song went to number 1. Dr. Hook's When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman stopped it getting to number 1, but in America it got into the Billboard Top 100 chart and went to number 1 in February 23, 1980. So, you know, it was their breakthrough song in America because they were struggling out there, and I don't know why. Americans should love Queen. They should love it. Okay, coming up next, Don't Stop Me Now from 1979, again from the Jazz album. Not going to lie, never been a big fan of the Jazz album. I just don't like it. So yeah, Don't Stop Me Now, come out in 79, started at 44 and made its way up to number 9, so it didn't get to number 1 either. I got a special fondness for this song though, because I used to DJ in a nightclub for years, and I used to do, like, they call it the cheesy set, but it was like Wham and all this sort of stuff, and I always started the set with Don't Stop Me Now. Every week without fail. It hit 1 o'clock in the morning and I play that track without stopping, and every week I did the same thing, and it was like the people that used to come and see me DJ regularly that wanted the cheese stuff, not the dancey stuff. As soon as they heard that's when the dance floor would get really busy really quickly, because they knew what was coming next. So I owe a lot to that song. I think Don't Stop Me Now is amazing, and yet again it's become an anthem. But yet again, it's another song that I've heard too many times now, and it drives me a little bit mad, but I absolutely love it as well. But look at this, it's had 115.6 million streams as well on Spotify or wherever it's from. 500 million plays on Spotify alone. So there you go. So the song, the proof's in the pudding. What a great song that is. Yeah, it only got to number 9 in the UK. Amazing, isn't it? It's amazing how it didn't go any higher than that. But yeah, another favourite of mine. Radio Gaga. Now, I love Queen in the 80s. I think Queen in the 80s did some really special stuff. I mean, like I said, Hot Space is one of my favourite albums. And the album's, you know, The Kind of Magic's okay, but it's a soundtrack and it's not a soundtrack at the same time, in my opinion, but I really like it as well. And obviously, Roger wrote the song, and he said his son was calling around and he says, Radio Gaga. And he said, oh, that's quite catchy. I'll have a bit of that as well. And then you got the Fritz Lang Metropolis video as well that was homaged on that. A friend of mine was actually in the video, and he went to where it's being filmed, the company was being filmed now, and he hung around. And basically, that when the extras were walking in, he walked in with them. And he got involved in the video. They thought he hadn't just got changed, so he's in the video, and he was hanging about some doorway, and they said to him, oh, can you go and get Freddie some champagne and some beer for Brian? And he gave him some money, and he went, yeah, I'll go and get it. So he shot off, came back, and the door opened, and they saw Freddie getting handed, and Freddie waved him and, thank you, darling. So he accidentally met Freddie and Brian on the same day, and he basically was just hanging about and walked in. No security checks, no anything. The Works is a good album, really solid album as well, really, really fantastic with that, recording in Los Angeles. But yeah, I love Radio Gaga and I Want to Break Free. I love those singles from that album. I think it's a really, really special album. Yet again, one of the top sellers, so the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic as well. There we go, I Want to Break Free is next. You know, they did well in America in 1980, and then in 84 they released this and put the video out, and then they just nailed their career in America. You know, Americans didn't get dragged, they didn't understand it at the time. Obviously, different opinions now, but it's one of those things where unfortunately it almost tanked their career until the late 90s, something like that. You know, they were doing well in America and they still had fans, but a lot of the mainstream people would disappear because they didn't understand what the drag was about. And you know, fair enough, if you don't get it, you don't get it, but it's obviously clearly them just pissing around and having a laugh, so I don't know why they didn't get it. But yeah, it's a great single, a great song as well, and I just love it when Freddie does his little two-step through the hallway in the video. That's very good as well. Yeah, brilliant. Lukewarm response in America, went to 45. Like I said, I'm not going to read the whole thing as well. And then, you know, John wrote the song as well, so it's John Deacon writing it, and everybody assumed it was Freddie as well. So, you know, because someone said to Freddie, what's I Want to Break Free about? He said, you'll have to ask John. Brilliant. Somebody to Love, the gospel hit. Wonderful track indeed. Now, I wonder why Queen never really explored their gospel roots a little bit more, because this track proved they could have done it. They could have definitely have gone down a gospel road and done a sort of gospel-influenced album. Elton John did one called the Tom Bell Sessions, where he went to Philadelphia and he explored soul. And I think Queen maybe should have gone to somewhere like Stack Studios in Memphis, or you know, that Muscle Shoals, that kind of thing, and just explored their soul and gospel side. I'd love to have heard of an album from this period, them then doing it then. I bet that would have been absolutely amazing as well. Freddie's vocals on it are absolutely amazing. He has a G sharp 5 falsetto in it as well, absolutely amazing. The lyrics are brilliant. You know, I try and I try and I try. Sometimes, you know, he's describing life in one song, isn't he, about how you try so much but sometimes you just can't seem to get there. Absolutely brilliant. Amazing. Not another number one, just a high selling record. That's all it is as well, yeah. Okay, Kind of Magic from the Queen soundtrack 1986. And yeah, again, another good album, Kind of Magic. But at the same time, it's a crossover between a soundtrack and an album, but it's not brilliant and it's not bad. It's just sort of in the middle there as well. Yeah, Kind of Magic, really, really cool. I love the single as well. Yeah, again, it's more 80s Queen, which I love 80s Queen as well. You know, they're using synthesizers at this point, using backwards reverb as well for the snares and bits and bobs like that. They're using like the technology in the studios as well as synthesizers together at this point, which I really love what they're doing. Because when you get like the Flash album, it's just synthesizers over them playing rock. Where to me, Kind of Magic and these Queen albums, the 80s ones, is where they're blending the synthesizers and the studio tricks together. It's like the coercion between the two, the glue, which I really, really love as well. Absolutely fantastic. And you know, Highlander's not a bad film either, is it? Kind of Magic landed at number 16 in the UK, which is ridiculous as well. Stayed on the top 10 for 6 weeks during its 11-week chart run. Amazing that wasn't high. Yeah, Roger Taylor wrote it as well, Kind of Magic. You know, they saw bits of the film and then they went away and wrote the songs around the film, and they couldn't have got it any better, I don't think. Like Who Wants to Live Forever, perfect song for Highlander. Yeah, I mean, it's about being immortal. Like, if you've not seen the film, sorry for just giving it away, but yeah, no, it's perfect, isn't it, as well? Queen's Disco and Another One Bites the Dust. No, this song I like because it's interesting that, you know, John was loving disco and he's influenced by disco as well, and this is 80, and then 4 years later you've got Hot Space, right, which is really disco. Yeah, this is the disco that seemed to succeed a bit better. Now, I know he wanted to dampen Roger's drums down and get a sort of funk chic style, and Roger didn't like it, and he wasn't a big fan of the sound, but it works to its detriment because the bass did, you know, run disco songs, and they pushed the disco tracks forwards. So I think John Deacon was right to say, look, we need to get this down. You need to dampen your drums down and make it, you know, a lot more not quieter, but under the bass, like, so the frequencies aren't smashed up as well. Yeah, Deacon drew direct inspiration from Chic's Good Times for his bass line, and you can almost sort of hear that as well. But it's, you know, a non-funky disco guy writing a funky disco riff and coming up with his own version of it, and it works. And what I love about the sound of the song, I don't know how they've done it, but it's got a really thick, hot, dirty sound to it. Like, when you hear it, it sounds like a sweaty song. It's hard to describe, but when I hear it being sweaty and dirty and horrible and things like that, and that's what works for me, I think, as well. So Deacon showed his musical range by playing most instruments on the recording: bass, piano, electric guitar, and hand claps as well. So, you know, John Deacon's really behind this song. You know, John Deacon is Queen's secret weapon. He really is, isn't he? He's the guy that they forget about. I'd love to sit down with him for 1 hour and talk about songwriting. Never mind Queen, never mind bass playing. Let's talk about songwriting. I'd love to know where his inspirations come from and all that sort of stuff. Michael Jackson said they should release it because they wasn't sure, and it peaked at number 2 on the US R&B and disco chart. So, you know, it did what it's supposed to on the tin. It went to the audience it's supposed to go to, and it went to the chart it went to as well. And not only is it an absolutely amazing song, but it's just brilliant, isn't it, as well? So there you have it. That's my list of Queen's top selling singles in the UK. There'll be a link to the website in the description as well, so you can check that out, and you can read the whole article. Like I said, I just went through it and gave my opinions while I was reading through it a little bit as well. So if you want to read the whole thing, just definitely go there and you'll check out more. Let me know what your favourite Queen album is. Let me know what your favourite Queen track is. Let me know if you met any of Queen. I'd love to know that as well. Did you meet any Queen members? I'd love to know what they were like to you as well. Also, I'm going to put a link in the description. I spoke to Tim Staffel, Queen aficionados know. Obviously, Tim was originally in Queen, then he joined Humpy Bong, and Freddie joined the band, and the rest is history. Tim was a lovely man. We had a wonderful chat, and he was so friendly and so warm and so funny. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can check that as well. I could have spoken to him all day. He's one of them guys, you meet him, you love him, you just want to talk to him all day long for hours about absolutely anything, not necessarily Queen and Freddie Mercury and stuff like that. Link to the description for that as well. Also, if you could subscribe, that'd be amazing. I've got loads of stuff on here for you. I've got deep dives, I've got reaction videos, I've got exhibition reviews, I've got DJ sets as well now, and live streams and all sorts of stuff going on. There might not be something for you all the time, but there might be the odd video pop up and you think, I fancy that. But if you subscribe, it means you won't miss it. Also, me and my friend Pete Saxer do a show called The Flip Side of Pete and Robbie, where we get unsigned bands on and we interview them and play tracks, and we play tracks from unsigned bands. Queen were unsigned once as well, so was Ibex. You know, and so was 1984. So if you subscribe, you're going to get some new music you might find and absolutely love it. And a lot of bands we talk to are influenced by, you know, this older generation like Beatles and Queen and Bowie and sort of stuff. So they're direct Queen fans, and you can hear it in their music. Anyway, that would massively help me out if you can do that as well. Let me know in the comments what your favourite album is, favourite track, have you got a Queen member. I'll see you on the next one. Subscribe, love and peace.